Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the Super Trucker Podcast. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all the support in the comments. Leave some below. Christian, what do we got today, man?
Today's an interesting one. I know we've always said we're never going to talk money. Never.
Ooh.
However, this one's worth the conversation because
is it raining or no?
It was for somebody.
Oh, okay.
But the whole premises with today's podcast is going to be get out of your own way. Sometimes we can take a successful formula and just ruin it because we get in our own way. It could be principle, whatever the case may be. I mean, so, you pick one, right?
Well, I think I know where we're going with this. I know what we're going to talk about. So I'm on board. I think in this case we can break our rules a little bit. Of course, we're not going to mention any names, any specific details, except for we actually will show the money this time, because there it is. You probably can't see that well. We'll make sure we put it up on the screen where you can see also. But basically, should I open the story here of how this kind of laid out, or you want to?
Absolutely. I think you take this one by the.
Yeah. So, guys, this is extremely important. Again, this is going to be dependent on where you are, who you work with, and you must be aligned with a good company that cares and is passionate about what they're doing. If you're not, this isn't going to work. This is not a ploy for Voyager. It's simply saying, as always, make sure that who you align yourself with is a good company, that they're passionate about what they're doing, and they're taking care of you. So with that being said, we had a driver come on board. He had a very specific, set requirement, and hey, I respect that. So the guys that come in and they know their business, they know where they need to be at, and the guy's like, look, at the end of the day, here's what I need to net, this is what I need to net per mile, and this is how I can make my bills and be successful. We looked at it, we analyzed it. Obviously, it was a little bit of a challenge when you're dealing with somebody that's that focused and detailed on where to be at.
And just keep in mind, there's a couple cost factors here that are variables from person to person.
Absolutely.
This individual actually has his own plates and his own bobtail insurance, so those deductions are not from the company.
Yeah.
He actually comes to the table with his own. Other guys, if they take advantage of those programs, are obviously going to see some deductions for that. Mm-hmm. But I do want to be clear that in this event, in this case, he has his own.
Absolutely. And again, percentages are dependent on the company that you work at. Excuse me, deductions may be different. We're not trying to really focus as much on the money that's on the board right now, because some of you may look at that and go, hey, that's great money. Some of you may look at that and say that's chump change. That's up to you. I'm not here to go down that rabbit hole. What we really want to talk about, what we're going to title this video, is trust the process. And that, I think, is the key to success wherever you're at.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess right. So kind of share the story. The guy wanted to come on with his specific requirements, which we did meet. Actually, we exceeded, right? So
yeah. In this case, so we had a couple weeks in. The first week was the week getting out of Florida a little slow. We were right there on the cusp of where he was trying to be at, so we got a pass for that week, But because we tried to explain to him, hey, getting out of Florida, it's gonna be a little tight. We all know that. Move on next week. Absolutely nail on the head, hit it. But even then, he was even though these were the limitations that he put on us, this was the requirements he put on us, he just didn't seem to be as happy. So we said, hey, listen, we have an idea. Dispatcher comes to me and he's like, Mike, I need some help here. Some guidance on what to do. What's your thought process? And I begin to analyze it, and I'm like, okay, this guy wants to keep some low miles. He basically wants his miles to meet his net income of $1 per mile.
Right.
Somewhere around 2,000 to 2,300 miles in his pocket, clear with everything, fuel, everything, deductions, percentages, everything. $1 per mile, so 2,000 to 23 net in his pocket. Okay. A little tight in certain areas to do that, but you got to trust us. And the guy started to get in his own way a little bit.
Right. So the secret to this success, you would say, is what? Because not everybody could accomplish this on just from the gate. It's got to be what, in your opinion, kind of low.
Yeah, so we tried to figure out.
We're not going to do coast to coast.
No, right. We're not running from Georgia to Washington and putting on 2,000, 2,800 miles and doing 4,000. It's not going to work. We're not going to be able to do that with this guy. So we started to analyze the market, and again, this could be done in different parts of the market at different times of the year. You have to be. I can't say this is where you find your success right now in this area because it changes. It changes weekly, monthly, daily, and you got to follow that change. But you have to be educated enough. Matter of fact, I was just talking to dispatch out there 5 minutes ago before we made this video, and I was letting them know that if as a dispatcher, as a company, if you are not your owner-operator's number one source for number one source and reliable source for knowledge about the market, about the business, if he's got to go somewhere else to figure out everything else, then what does he really need you for? What's the purpose of you as the company other than the authority and that stuff? I think you can be so much more is what I'm getting at. So I try to encourage our dispatchers to educate themselves, to know if you're going somewhere, what are you going to do when you get there? Have a plan. Have a plan. And that's when I can look a driver in the eye and say, ma'am, sir, trust the process. Trust us. Give the keys over to us. Let us drive. And then let us show us what we can do. And then that way, if he does that, he or she does that, and we fail, then it's on us.
Right. And when it comes down to, remember, when we talk control, we're not talking control for pride. We're not talking control to say.
No, because this isn't forced dispatch. Absolutely. Not at all.
This is absolutely because that's our craft. That's what we do.
You got to be good at it.
We find the loads and put the opportunities in front of you. What we can't do is fight each other. Your craft, getting there on time, showing up within the legal parameters of hours of service, within the legal parameters of DOT requirements, that's where you work your magic. Us, this is our craft. It may not seem it in the beginning, but everything will fall together, and we look at holistically at the end of the week. Right? Because that's...
And you got to look at it as a bigger picture. And just to finish the backstory of what you're just talking about there, looking at it at the end of the week, just so everybody knows, also this driver is not the driver that's hammering the miles. He doesn't drive at night. He cuts off at a certain time of the day. And so the best that I can get on average, overnight, we're looking at 400 to 450 miles. I mean, you cannot give this guy a 500-mile load and expect him to have it there. He's not pushing out 500 miles a day. It's not going to happen. And so I had to adapt to that and come up with a plan to accommodate that.
So here, and that's exactly it. These plans have to be tailored to every driver. Every owner-operator is going to have a different plan. This is this guy, this is instance, and for this to work for this week, Southeast wasn't as gravy as it always is. So what did he have to do? We had to go to run the same plan, but in the Northeast.
Yeah, and okay, first thing you're going to hear, there's going to be 1,000 comments. Oh, I'm not going to the island. I'm not going to the boroughs. I'm not going to the tolls. I get it. That's where the trust comes in. If you look at these lanes.
Right. So I don't know if you can see the cursor, but we'll kind of give you a breakdown of what he did. So what you're looking at here. He was already up north by this point.
Yeah, he took what it was is to save the week. We took a high paying load going into the Northeast, and we weren't sure if we were going to stay there or not because the guy's not really fond in the Northeast. So when he delivered up in Mass, we were able to pick up a load not too far away from him at all. I believe it was like 16 miles deadhead from his delivery on Monday, and he was able to pick up a load going to Johnstown, New York. Loaded miles was 229 miles. And the rate on that, obviously, it was not that extensive. It was kind of low for the mileage, but not bad. It was $5.50 because getting out of Mass is going to be difficult. Everywhere you're going to go, you're talking about, it was like $1 a mile, 97 cents a mile, $1.10 a mile. So we were able to get more than that going to Johnstown, New York.
So then here we go. A lot of back and forth between New York, Mass. We kind of played within that parameter for the entire week. Coming in with a total of 6 loads. Yes, that's correct. 6 loads, 1,200 miles.
1274. 6 loads. Yep.
1274. And after expenses and fuel and the maintenance fee, coming in at 2,700.
$2,743.62 net. Even if he had some tolls. Even if the tolls were aggressive, if he had a $150 toll a day, if you take that off of it for the 5 days that he ran, it's still a successful week. But he didn't. We did the homework, and we were able to find ways to deliver these loads and avoid the tolls. Okay, so when you talk about it being specifically tailored to that driver, it worked for this driver. We asked him to trust the process, and he did. We asked him to get out of his own way, and he did. We asked him to get out of his own head, and he did. When he gave the reins over, none of this was forced. This was not, hey, you have to do this, you have to do that. It was, my man, trust me on this. Look, let's run this and this. Let's go from Danvers over to Johnstown. Let's go from Schuler to Oxford. When we went back to Oxford, he had a real hard time swallowing that first one going up to Johnstown because it's $550. You want me to run a $550 load? My day rate's like $800 to $1,000 every single day. I understand. I get it. There's the guys. I've got guys out here grossing $5,000 that aren't clearing that $2,700 because of the miles that they're putting in to get it.
Right. So
this was a case of smarter, not harder.
Yeah, and it's just trust the process. And so all you can really do is, right, let's do it again next week, even if it means in a different area.
Yeah,
how are we doing with that?
Resistance. Resistance came back into play. Got back in his own head. I hate the Northeast. I hate the Northeast. I hate the Northeast. So we're not in the Northeast anymore. We're not seeing these kinds of numbers pop up. I get it, guys. I know it's rough up there, but and again, your Northeast may be somewhere different for you. Everybody has their likes, their pros, and their cons and how they drive. But if this gentleman would trust us, which now this week, his next week we ran things his way again. It wasn't as nowhere near as good.
And that's the thing.
And now he's back on board again.
And then you have to trust the process consistently, and you will consistently make money. Maybe it's not exactly like this, maybe a little less, maybe even more, who knows? But the idea is to just trust the process. And again, you have to have a good crew behind you. So it's got to be a dispatchers. I mean, not even here, wherever you are, you have to have a crew that's going to fight for you and do this and not accept low-hanging fruit, because that's
this was a work. This on the dispatching side. I mean, don't get me wrong. We would have. What's easiest for us? You don't think it's easier for me to book a load on Monday that's not going to deliver till Wednesday? Wednesday book a load that delivers on Friday, and Friday deliver your weekend load on Monday? That's of course easier for me as a dispatcher if I'm out there dispatching. It's much more 6 loads. One of these loads was a straight through, which means I had to get another load in the same day, and that's what helped boost us up to the point. These short runs, man, you can load them at 7 o'clock in the morning, be done at 2, and grab something that evening and deliver next morning.
And so remember, as an owner operator, when you got guys fighting for you and you want to do this better, and you can incentivize by being part of the program and enjoy and just respecting and improving the process. But if there's resistance thinking that by kicking back loads, like, hey, next week I'm gonna kick back loads because if I do, my dispatcher will be more aggressive, and instead of 27, it'll be 3,000. It's actually counterintuitive, because what's really happening is, when the dispatch is getting discouraged because this magical load full of unicorns and pays rainbows and butterflies, it doesn't exist. So this is a lot of hard work from everybody's end, from the driver getting there on time, doing what he has to do, to the dispatcher making several phone calls.
And this is what I tell my dispatchers. This is your job. This is what you're supposed to love. This is what you do. If you don't love this, then you're in the wrong business. You're in the wrong position. Because we got people that's turning over their livelihood and trusting us with it. I take that serious. Just as serious as when I look at a guy going, I'm not making any money, and he's on the phone griping in my ear. Hey, I'll definitely weigh it. Let me put it up against your actions and what you do. Oh, well, here you go. Here's the day you took off that you didn't have to take off. Here's the day you did this. Here's the day you did this. Here's the day we couldn't leave because you didn't like this and that. And then it all starts telling a story. Our most successful guys are the guys that trust the process.
Yeah, and then just keep in mind, that's how this gets accomplished, right? Because he put in the work, he did the time. It doesn't mean coming out late and expecting the same results. This can be achieved week after week after week. Yeah. It's just a matter of adaptability.
And this isn't asking too much from a driver.
And creativity. I mean,
1,200 miles in a week. And there's guys watching this video right now that's going, give me those loads. How do I know that? Because in one of our orientations, I shared this story with a guy, and the guy goes, hey, can you still do that? Because I'll go do that today. Take me up there right now. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
So remember, guys, don't fight that process. And if there's something good, see how you can contribute in a positive manner. I mean, even if it meant you stayed out another week up there and stayed out of Florida just to reap the benefit for the moment, that's fine. but just kicking back loads after a successful week like this and getting in your own way. That's what this is about. I'm gonna just cut right to the chase. Don't get in your own way. We mess up a good thing right here because we start to kick back loads. Perhaps we think we're putting more pressure. I mean, help us understand.
Yeah.
Give me a comment. Give me some feedback. Why change the parameter? If something's good
if
and
it ain't broke, don't fix it. But again, guys, so we're clear. Our disclaimer is that we understand that worked this week. We're smart enough to know that if it wasn't working next week, we adjust. We move to make this work. The market really just does in waves, and you got to chase that wave across the nation, wherever it may be at the time. This week, it just happened to be Northeast. Not everybody's favorite, but we made it work, man.
Yeah, we're talking more. What's the psychology behind it, right?
Yeah,
psychologically, why take something that's working and just, if you let us drive, we prove to you, hey, you're going to make some money. Why all of a sudden you're going to try to micromanage your dispatcher and kind of limit him, actually?
You spend more time wrestling with somebody
than you're doing. So there's more struggle than anything now, and the benefit is not for anybody. So just hit us back with some comments with that. I mean,
yeah, because to sum that up, as a perfect week, I would say absolutely. He met his financial goal and then some. It's double what he asked me to do. Number one, he wanted $1 net per mile. He's double that and then some. It also lowered the wear and tear on his vehicle. With the mileage only being 1274, a lot of these loads weren't that heavy. It wasn't heavy freight, so it was a perfect storm. Look at the fuel costs that he had.
Yeah, and even I know probably a question that's going to pop up, so we might as well just address it now. The deadhead miles here. I mean, probably not shown, but
very, very limited. That's a tight area. I mean, between New York and Mass, you're only a couple hundred miles period, no matter where you're at. So we were doing upstate New York only to avoid the tolls. We did not mess with anything. Nothing near the island. Nothing downtown. None of that kind of stuff. So our goal was to be in that Johnstown, Albany at the lowest, and then moving over to the Schenectady and Rochester, and even if we could get something to that Buffalo, upstate New York is what we were shooting for. We couldn't always quite get there, but that was the goal. And then when you're coming back into Mass, you're gonna make your bigger. It was difficult process to convince someone in their head to work that day for $550 gross, and then knowing their percentages and all that kind of stuff.
But that was the idea, to trust us to get to the spot, to be. We went there not blindly, not knowing, not like, I wonder what's going to happen. There was a game plan. There was a game plan the entire time to get there. We were watching the market. We have other drivers in the market, whatever it is.
Okay, and he was not the highest grossing driver of this week by no means. But I guarantee he was one of the most profitable drivers that week.
And so, for the reason for sharing, guys, is not to get into a detailed debate of how this could have been better. Because you know what, maybe it could have been better. Maybe it would have.
We can always do better.
It could have been worse as well. You are not this guy. We're not saying that. We're not asking you to dissect it. What we're saying is, give us the feedback on if plan is working. Why change the game in the 9th inning? Why do that?
And trust the process.
Just trust the process.
And if you can't trust the process, then question the process of why you are where you are.
Yeah, and I get it. Some guys come from locations where maybe they were on their own load boards, and then maybe that has an influence where, if they're not the ones in control.
You get that. I can do better. I can do better. When I was booking my own loads, I could get $3 a mile in every direction.
No, you'd still be there.
Yeah. That is always the question in the back of my head. Then why are we even having this discussion? If you ran your business, your own authority, and you were able to get $3 a mile in every direction, no matter where you went, and they all only weigh 10,000 pounds, why are we even having a discussion? Yeah. So let's be real. Let's be honest. Let's get out of our own way. Get out of our own head, man. That windshield time can kill us sometimes.
Maybe too much think time. It is, guys. Yeah. And again, we're just kind of sharing. Here we went from a good week to maybe not such a successful week because we got it in our own way, back to a good week. So it's kind of like that love-hate relationship. If we could just streamline this process and just let's come in and do what we do, hey man, we all just make some money. I think that'll be the best outcome for everybody. But again, we just do this to share information, different points of views. We welcome any kind of feedback, and I don't know.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share the video. Your comments, good, bad, we don't care. We'll definitely read them. We'll definitely respond to them. We appreciate all the support that we get, and as always,
drive safe
and keep on trucking. Keep them wheels moving, baby. Keep those wheels moving. Choo, choo. All right. Okay.